Welcome back to another Alephium tutorial. Today's video is going to be on the Alephium SDK. We're going to be checking it out today. One of the first requirements to run the Alephium SDK is to have NodeJS installed. If you don't have NodeJS installed, you can go and grab it from the video in the description that I leave on how to install Node.js, but chances are you have Node.js if you're a developer. If you're not a developer, don't worry, Node.js is pretty easy to install, and just go follow the link in the description. Alright, so let's get into the video, right? So today we're going to be checking out the SDK. The SDK is a very powerful query tool that we can use in Alephium and its ecosystem to actually build and create transactions, query blockchain data, and just basically anything that's on the blockchain we can query it, and if there's anything on the blockchain that we want to interact with, we can interact with it using the SDK. And in turn basically giving our private keys to the SDK on our system and running scripts from the private keys rather than having to run them from the wallet. And so that's what makes the SDK so powerful, is that we can take kind of maybe some centralized concepts and we can apply some transactional logic and actually create dApps that are really refreshing, not in the sense that they have to all be centralized per se, but in the sense that we can make stuff that actually is just really appealing to the user and it works really seamlessly, and most importantly it's easy to build with, right? So let's get started, right? So we're on our Alephium tutorial GitHub. This is the GitHub page that I always like to leave in the description, and I have it posted publicly, and so if you guys want to check out the source code for this and or copy it or follow along, you can, and so that'll be in the description as well. But we're just in our src folder here, and we just created an Alephium SDK.js file. We did .js, but you can also use TypeScript. We did .js so as to not make this harder than it has to be. And it's also a good testament to the fact that you can use this in JavaScript, unlike most of the TypeScript files that Alephium is built on. Anyways, moving forward from that, the one dependency that we do need is to have the Web3 server installed. And so that is as simple as running this command here, npm install -- save at Alephium Web3, and we can install that, and as you can see it's up to date. And so we don't need to have it installed. From there, we can actually go and run our SDK results and actually get data. I'm going to comment this out real quick because we're not using it right now. But basically what we have right now is a basic function where we find the blockchain current height of group 0 to group 0. So let's go and let's query that result up, and let's see what we get. We get a current height of 1.3,095,485, which is the current block height of the group 0 to the group 0. If we wanted the group 0 to the group 1, then we could just simply change those values, and we could then run the script again and get a block height of 1.2 million, 1,703. And so this is really cool to be able to make these transactions, or not transactions, but queries from the blockchain. And I think it's just really informational to actually be able to get this type of data and actually be able to manipulate it and play with it and just have fun with it, really. Alright, now let's continue by creating another SDK function where we can actually get the balance of an address. So we're simply going to take our basic SDK function here, and we're going to say that results equal await node provider, and we're going to grab that async function up top because these await functions can only be called within an asynchronous function. And so we're going to do this, and we'll console.log the results here from this function, and we'll get the address results, right? So we'll do get results addy, and bam, we should now have two, and I'll just query both up because why not? We can see here that we have a balance of 0, a balance hint of 0, a locked balance of 0, a locked balance hint of 0, and a UTX number of 0. now I'm going to end up taking my own address now, and we are going to, or actually, I'll take a address such as the NGU multisig, and we will use this to actually query up some data on how much is actually in the NGU multisig, which I think is a really good use of the SDK if we're wanting to query data, and this is how we actually query it on the NGU bot to get multisig assets and how to figure out how much is actually in there. You can see how this SDK would actually be really powerful in the case of if you're having a Discord bot try to pull information from the Alephium blockchain or perform Alephium blockchain interactions, such as transferring assets. This is how you would do it. You would use the SDK, and you would follow the prompts. A lot of what the SDK can do is also basically stuff that the node can do. So if the node can do it, there's usually an API call that you can run to your node, similar to how the SDK is ran, and then execute those functions, right? And so we just did that address query, and we're able to find out that we have a balance in here of 2236395779. We can show that this balance hint actually just clears this long number up and basically just tells us, hey, there's 22.36 alpha in there. It shows us what the locked balance is, what the locked balance hint is, and then we get to see all the tokens that are in here, right? And so we've got approximately 777 of something, and then this is the amount of NGU in here, so you can see that we've got 142, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 142,172 NGU in there. And I take that 7 count because that's the number of decimals that NGU has. And so we can actually use this in combination with some arithmetic formulas and actually generate what the actual result of the amount of NGU that's in there would actually be. We can also check the amount of the UTXO numbers and just get more and more data from it. It's a very, very cool feature, and I like it a lot. I think it's something that really goes under the radar a lot, but the SDK is extremely, extremely powerful. All right, let's do one more quick SDK interaction real quick here, and then we will end this video here, and I'll let you guys play around with the SDK a little bit yourself, and in the next video we'll talk more about writing to the blockchain and making wallets and address, getting accounts, things like that, right? So let's get a transaction status here with the SDK. And so we have this transactional status function here, and this is all off the documentation, which I'll put in the links of this video as well. And so you guys can check it out, and you guys can play around with it and experience all the things that I'm experiencing right now. We are also using the Alephium mainnet node provider, and so this is rate limited, and so I'll be sure to mark that. All right, and then we will console.log the results here as well. And so we'll get the results of that add ETX. And we will let that go through. So let's run that. We can see here that the type TX was not found, and so we just got the basic data that we got last time, right? Let's actually go and find a TX now using this, and we'll get something back. So I'm going to grab a TX real quick from a recent NGU transaction, just to demonstrate kind of what it would look like from that perspective. And we can see here that Now we have our TX here. We have type confirmed, block hash, index chain confirmations, from group confirmations to group confirmations, as well as the additional info that's also here in this function that we are basically importing, or basically calling from the last couple runs, right? And so, yeah, this is the first episode of using the SDK. There's so many powerful things you can do with it, and I'm so excited that I was able to check this out and be able to deliver this video for you guys on how to check out the SDK and how to use it, and why the SDK is so powerful in Alephium. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.